Ever wondered if a colleague who had a shit boss would finally snap and try to do something? This movie shows that.
Those were up, and they did.
We're smart, and my...
He told me enough.
No, I.
Here's Chuck.
Hey everyone, it's COrleone here, and I'm here with a brand new movie review. And this movie review is going to be for a 2011 black comedy film. And this black comedy is going to be for a film directed by Seth Gordon and starring a big ensemble cast of actors. And it was released in July 2011. And that film is going to be for 2011's Horrible Bosses. Yeah, so what's the plot of this movie? Well, Nick hates his boss, mostly because he's suspected to work from before sunrise to after sunset, and his boss, Mr. Hargan, calls him out for being a minute late and blackmails him so he can't quit. Dale hates his boss, Dr. Julia Harris, because she makes unwelcome sexual advances when he's about to get married. But Dale's on that pesky list of child offenders, so he can't quit. Kurt actually likes his job and his boss, up until the boss dies, and the boss's coked out psychopathic son takes over. But who would be crazy enough to quit their jobs in such poor economic times? Instead, Nick, Dale, and Kurt drunkenly and hypothetically discuss how to kill their bosses. Before they know it, they've hired a murder consultant to help them pull off the 3 deeds. So anyway, how was this film made? Well, Markowitz's script for Horrible Bosses was sold at auction to New Line Cinema by Ratner's production company Rat Entertainment 2005 for a 6-figure amount. Ratner initially was interested in directing, but became occupied with directing the comedy Tire Heist. Thank God, because I really despise Brett Ratner. Frank Oz and David Dalkin were in talks to direct. Jonathan Goldstein and John Francis Daly rewrote the script in 2010, and the project went to production with Seth Gordon directing this time. During the 6-year development of the film, several actors were in negotiations to star, including Owen Wilson, Vince Vaughn, Matthew McConaughey, Ryan Reynolds, Dax Shepard, and Johnny Knoxville. Tom Cruise, Philip Seymour Hoffman, and Jeff Bridges had been approached by New Line Cinema to take the role of David Hargan, described as a psychopathic master manipulator with an attractive wife. Then, of course, Kevin Disgracie signed up for the role in June 2010. I'll get to that part later. Ashton Kutcher was in talks to play Dale at 2 different points in the lengthy production, but the role ultimately went to Charlie Day. Then filming of Horrible Bosses took place in and around Los Angeles. The production team attempted to find locations that people have already seen 100 times in movies and on TV. Haven't. Aiming for the film to appear as if it could be taking place anywhere in America where people are trying to pursue the American dream but getting stopped by a horrible boss. Quinstein was represented by an office building in Torres, California, with the crew building the set on a vacant floor. For Pellet Chemical, the production team found a perfect landscape of pipes and containers in Santa Fe Springs surrounding an unoccupied water cleaning and storage facility. To take advantage of the surrounding imagery, the warehouse required an extensive series of overhauls, including cutting windows into concrete walls and creating new doors to allow for visuals of the warehouse exterior provide a setting for the final scene of Sutherland's character. ATGI Fridays in Woodland Hills, Los Angeles was used as a bar frequented by Nick, Dale, and Kurt, while the bar scene where they meet with Jones is stationed downtown Los Angeles. Then, of course, after the film was shot and marketed, the film would then premiere in Los Angeles on June 30th, 2011, and was then released on July 8th, 2011. The film exceeded financial expectations, occurring over $28 million in the first 3 days, making it the #2 film in the United States during its opening weekend, and grossed over $209 million worldwide by the end of its theatrical cut run. The film received generally mixed and positive reviews, with critics praising the ensemble cast, and each lead being singled out for their performances across reviews. Some reviewers gave praise for the premise and plot, while others commented on the quality of the joke writing. Unfortunately, a shitty sequel, Horrible Bosses 2, was released on November 2014, but we're going to talk about this film when it's actually good. Or somewhat good. As for my reaction, this is, well, despite just saying it's good, it's not one of the greatest comedies ever made, but I do decently like it as harmless and enjoyable little funny flick, and pretty relatable one too. We obviously have that boss we really despise working for and just want to leave, or if anybody's a dark mind wants dead, they have no power to be able to do so. Horrible Bosses is one of those comedies like the classic Ruthless People, which are outrageous and dark premise works because of good writing and a ensemble that knows exactly how to handle the material for maximum comedic value. Jason Bateman, Jason Sudeikis, and Charlie Day played the requisite straight man, alpha male, and dumbass respectively, and very well done too. That male buddy comedies neat, while Disgracie, Jennifer Aniston, and Colin Farrell, who's sadly underused in this movie, get to him in a bit, play the Tyler bosses we're supposed to hate. All of them have a field day with their roles, and Aniston especially somewhat does stand out because of the film's decision to cast her against type as a slutty, foul-mouthed sex kitten. You almost hear Aniston sigh with relief as she gets to play something other than just that choose-a-bun girl next door in a lot of her films. The cast and premise were kind of what drew me to Horrible Bosses in the first place, and while they're the main excellent things about the film, Horrible Bosses succeeds in many other ways too. The film was photographed and edited beautifully with precision, and Horrible Bosses also boasts a driven soundtrack and efficient direction, and also a sharp and witty script, a compelling story that lives up to its great premise and well-observed characters. The cast give it all, and I thought Colin Farrell really stood out the most. The rest were excellent, except for one I don't like. You obviously know who it is. And I think this is one of the better Jennifer Aniston roles, I have to say. It was kind of about, and this was also a great movie that wasn't wasted on a slapdash script, poor directing, and unworthy actors. Like, instead, Gordon and his screenwriters contributed a new kind of buddy comedy so ridiculous everyone can relate to it. It's achieved by the smartest casting years, seamlessly balancing the star power of the protagonists and antagonists. Both parties are worthy of the audience's attention, with each star distinguishing his or herself from the other with a unique formula of hilarity. To make things even better, Jamie Foxx can do no wrong with his portrayal of murder consultant M.F. Jones. Everything's very smooth throughout the majority of the film until the climax is reached and the resolution takes place. Gordon directs a very clever film to this point, connecting all the characters and expressing the audience's concerns. When it begins to conclude, the film is very lazy. A disconnected sets and that is not necessarily cliche. This should have been much better. And Jennifer Aniston's kind of sexual performance is so over the top, despite being one of her better roles. Her sexual performance feels way too over the top here, that some viewers will likely either love her performance or hate her performance. And a dark comedy works because of the ensemble of characters, the three hapless adventurers and their really horrible bosses. It's played by actors who can say comedy lines with straight faces that aren't scared to get dirty. Some are just really good at what they normally do, like Bateman is a normal straight man, Sudeikis as the obnoxious womanizer, and then you have Charlie Day as the big dumbass. And while others are stepping out of their comfort zone and showing some real comedy skills, like Jennifer Aniston is just over the top incorporate seductress, and Colin Farrell is a skinny coked out criminal. I don't know that Charlie Day. I haven't seen Charlie Day in a lot of stuff except for maybe Lego Movie, Monsters University, Pacific Rim. He definitely made me laugh here in this film. Like his whiny voice is perfect for the role of Dale because he's manic and paranoid to begin with, but with his head in a bowl of cocaine, it's going to be becoming more manic and paranoid because there's this pretty funny moment where he accidentally gets into Colin Farrell's cocaine when they're trying to get evidence from his character's house so they can murder him. One of them can murder him anyways. Charlie Day's character accidentally gets into Colin Farrell's character's cocaine, then he spills it, and then he becomes so high, he's like randomly just acting completely annoying and obnoxious because he's so high on drugs stuff, which is a pretty funny moment. The acting in this movie once again was amazing. Like, each star and supporting member played his or her roles flawlessly. Jason Bateman's even a prime example of this. I think he was probably the best of the three characters. He's able to stay serious, but even comes off the audience as hilarious, and he's exemplified later in the movie during his explanation of the red light he ran to the police. And another great aspect of this movie is also the setting. Like, Glendale's this pretty beautiful setting here, encompassed all the aspects the film needed. The downtown was perfect for Nick's job, while the luxurious suburbs were great for both his boss and Dale's boss. The city even possessed a lower-class neighborhood and perfect for the murder consultants. The camera work in this movie is also great, and there's an angle shots to the boss's power by Nick, Dale, and Kurt, as well as many close-ups to show emotion. After our woebegone protagonists have put up with far too much abuse, they locate an African-American Dean Motherfucker Jones, aka Jamie Foxx, who's on parole. Officially, they think he can terminate their bosses with extreme prejudice. One of the running jokes is use of Dean's profane nickname that our heroes use in the most casual way, but MF refuses to commit to killings for them, but he agrees to serve as their murder consultant for $5,000. And at the time, our foolish protagonists believe MF pulled a 10-year stretch in the big house for murder. But one of the surprises here is that Dean wasn't even convicted of murder. He did time because the authorities caught him in a movie theater with a video camera recording a film. Yeah, he went to 10 years in jail for recording a movie in a theater. Literally. And nevertheless, he even tells the hapless trio, most killers are first-timers. You want to pull off a brilliant murder, you gotta act like it's an accident. Failed breaks, gas leaks, suicide, you do it right. You ain't gonna be there when it goes down. You gotta be there when it goes down. And it sounds like you saw the... Even sounds like you kind of saw the Hitman movie, The Mechanic. Mechanic as well, like... Hendricks even remains skeptical about MR's advice, like, that it thinks it sounds like Scooby-Doo, that coward where they even supposed to fake 3 accidents. Our heroes are naturally disappointed by MF's lack of participation. According to MF, they must stalk their prey. The second he continues, they gotta be smart and find out where they live, find out their habits, what's their hobbies, and nevertheless, he warns them that they have motive, that the police will find them, and Nick points out that they all have clear motives for killing your bosses, so it's not gonna work. This is kind of a garbage idea. So I like to kind of have a big realization. But then, of course, MF suggests they kind of kill each other's bosses, swap the murder ideas, and it's where Kurt alludes to Hitchcock's Strangers on a Train, which Dale hasn't seen, of course. And during the remainder of Horrible Bosses, and comedy galore ensues, particularly when Hendricks and Buckman are at David Hargan's house, and dimwitted Dale sits parked outside a house, still high on the drugs. Then of course, Bateman's character's Nick's boss surprises Dale after the latter has littered and reprimands him for littering. And then, of course, he catches a whiff of the peanuts, and it turns out his character's allergic to peanuts, collapses helpless to the pavement, and witnesses Gerald juggling to save Hargan's life without realizing who Dave is. But everybody gets their just comeuppance, especially Julia, which is nice here. All 3 of the bosses do get their comeuppance. Spoiler alerts, not only one of them gets murdered. The other 2 do get punished. Not murdered, though. But they still do get defeated at the end. Pretty satisfying defeats, too. Like, director Seth Gordon as scenarist doing an exemplary job of foreshadowing what occurs later in a politically incorrect comedy, when the biggest surprises occurs outside Bobby's house while Nick is watching Kurt's boss. Donald Sutherland even has a brief bit as Kurt's former boss, who unfortunately gets wasted in the beginning of the film. And then the ending with Mick needing his new boss, Mr. Sherman, who's surprisingly played in a cameo by Bob Newhart, is pretty funny. And it's eventually wrapped up in a very clever, unexpectedly. Just as you think, there's no end in sight. And the credits are great too. Fresh sounding soundtrack. It's always nice to have outtakes too. To connect you more with the actors in the process and slowly bring you out of the movie disbelief zone. As the final outtake broke into the black screen with the super horrible bosses, like, it was still pretty funny at times. And the 3 main actors do a good job of convincing the audience to show how much they hate their bosses. They have great chemistry on screen, making their characters likable, and story all the more funnier. The 3 high-profile actors play their bosses 2 of the actors who play the bosses don't disappoint either. I think my favorite of the bad bosses was probably Colin Farrell. We get to his character in a bit, and however, the reason it's not one of the greatest comedies ever is because of these bad qualities. First off, the main bad boss is David Hargan. He's the one I despise the most, not just because he's an unlikable character, because he's played by an unlikable creeper named Kevin Spacey. Like, yeah, the reason why I won't watch American Beauty is because not only is apparently the protagonist in that movie a creeper, but a creeper plays him. So yeah, that's why I don't want to praise or watch that film. I once had respect, like I've already said many times, I used to have respect for the guy's roles, and before his allegations were revealed, I thought he gave a good performance in this movie before his real self was revealed. And I can't enjoy any of his characters in the films he stars in now after pretty much knowing who he is. I still enjoy Seven, that David Fincher film, not because of him, because of the plot, the story, and at least And thankfully he's not in the movie much. And I don't get why people call 7 a downer ending. Oh, his character, Brad Pitt killed his character, that means he won. I don't find it a downer ending at all. I thought it was kind of satisfying because it means we won't get a franchise milked out of it. And it means his creep character's dead. And then second of all, I feel like Jamie Foxx's Jones was kind of a pointless character because he's not even revealed to be a hitman, and he doesn't have that many scenes. And of course third, Colin Farrell doesn't even get much screen time either, and he was probably the funniest of the three. I think to make the movie better, I think I would have rather of the three bosses, Colin Farrell was the main bad one, and he had the most screen time instead of Disgracie. I kind of wish they kind of swapped the Disgracie role with Colin Farrell's character, because I think he would have made a better main antagonist. Also, some of the jokes are amiss, because I don't care about the scene of Jason Sudeikis' character wiping Colin Farrell's character's toothbrush in his ass for several minutes. And I don't care about Jennifer Aniston's character being a creeper when that gig is on loop for every scene she's in this film. And I feel like the ending is way too abrupt, because it literally just ends with Dale blackmailing Julia, and that's pretty much it. Like, I'd rather the movie just ends with her going to jail for being a predator to her clients, who shouldn't be working in the dentist industry or anywhere, period. Because she's a disgusting creep. She's a disgusting, creepy person. I didn't mind Aniston's performance, but her character was a disgusting creep who should have been in jail for a long time ago. Surprised she's even working as a dentist. Like, it even probably would have saved us from the shitty sequel we got 3 years later. Because that film, what did that film do? It literally ruined the character's happy ending. It ruined Jason Bateman's character's happy ending. By having Disgracie's character by the Three's planned business they were planning to start in that sequel of her on a prison, and that's how the second one ends. And so basically the second one ended with Bateman having to work for Disgracie's character again. So it made this whole movie mean nothing and pretty much ruined the happy ending of this movie. That's why, yeah, they relied more on the gross humor from this movie and pretty much made it a shitty sequel. I didn't like the first one because of the gross humor. Why I like this movie is because the three main characters had good chemistry. Some of their Charlie Day's dumbass self was actually funny at times. Like when he gets high on the cocaine, there was actually some funny moments with the three. And Colin Farrell even gets a laugh out of me several times in this film. That's why I like the film. Not because of the gross toothbrush scene. Because of some of the humor the characters present. When they're not doing dirty jokes. However, in the end, Horrible Bosses is one of the better comedies of the 2010s, but not among the greatest of all. I would recommend this if you want to see one of the last comedies worth a shit around that era. Well, there were still some good ones, but this is one of the last few worth a shit. Last black comedy worth a shit anyways. If of course wondering how I'm going to rank Horrible Bosses, here's how I'm going to rank this movie. So overall, if you want a black comedy you can relate to, then I would easily recommend watching this and treating it for your own benefit, or just maybe streaming it online. And if you're wondering how I'm going to rank Horrible Bosses, I'm going to give Horrible Bosses a 7.5 out of 10. There we go. That wraps up my review for Horrible Bosses. So yeah. And I'm also going to review another comedy film at some point this month. It's a slightly better one, though, than this, for sure. It came out a year after this one. But you'll find out what it is soon. Until then, guys, that's going to be it for this review. Thank y'all for watching. And if you like this and want to see more, then don't forget to like, subscribe to Don G. Corleone.